Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
Breaking news right now in Macomb County. Deputies responding to a deadly shooting inside a condo in Harrison Township. A live report is just minutes away. Priya.
We've heard of the $64,000 question, but how about the billion-dollar question as rumors that a group of teachers in Novi won the Mega Millions jackpot? We're talking to the school principal who's breaking it down for us.
Well, we're going to begin here at 5 with Storm Tracker 4 and a winter weather advisory set to go into effect with snow on the way. This is round 2 after what we got on Sunday, which was just a little bit of an appetizer as we head into the next round.
Yeah, let's get over to Ben right here off the top here at 5 with a look at the timeline. Hi, Ben.
Hi, guys. Yeah, the Sunday was the jab. This is the right hook, but it's not going to put us on the mat by any stretch because really this is just a solid January snow that we're expecting. And winter weather advisories do get underway 1 a.m. tonight, and they run through 4 p.m. on Tuesday, and it does look like the heart of the snow is going to be falling during tomorrow morning's drive. The stuff you see over us is really elevated moisture. It's not anywhere close to falling. Pay attention, though, to northern Indiana. That's the leading edge of this stuff as it starts to surge its way to the north. So the bottom line, the timing is late evening tonight through midday tomorrow. The biggest impact is going to be tomorrow morning's drive. It is going to make that very challenging. And total accumulations look like they're going to be in the 2 to 4 inch range with the higher numbers in the north. We'll break those down for you and see just how long this snow is going to stick around because there may be some freezing rain on the tail end of it. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Yeah. Okay, Ben, thank you. Brandon Rue and Paul Gross will be tracking the snow overnight as this system moves through, so be sure to wake up with them for the updated forecast on Local 4 News today starting at 4:30 a.m.
Let's get to breaking news now, coming to us from Harrison Township.
Yeah, that's where Macomb County deputies are investigating a deadly shooting at a condo. Let's get right to Mara McDonald with the latest. Mara.
Kimberly, take a look behind me. You can see Macomb County sheriffs have this entire area blocked off. What they have confirmed for us right now is that there is a deceased person inside one of these townhouses. Now, this originally came across as a home invasion in progress, except the circumstances surrounding this are pretty murky right now. And neighbors are telling us that, yeah, they heard commotion out here, but they had no idea what they were listening to were gunshots. Take a listen.
I heard some clanking and it sounded just like regular noise, like construction, like the other neighbors said, and it was over the TV, so there was no concern. I'm way in the back, but I did hear it, thought nothing of it. And then all of a sudden I heard screaming by a man, and they said that was him saying to please put your hands in the air, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden I hear a woman screaming and profanities, and all of a sudden there's everything's blocked off.
Back here live, we are expecting an update from the Macomb County Sheriff's Department supervisor on scene out here, probably in the next 5 minutes or so. As soon as we know more, we will, of course, come back to you live. We're live in Harrison Township tonight. I'm Mara McDonald. Back to you.
Mara, we'll check back in with you a little bit later. Thank you. Also breaking right now on the Flint water crisis, attorneys for former Governor Rick Snyder have filed a motion to dismiss the case. Court documents allege a Genesee County judge did not have the jurisdiction to approve the indictment since the alleged acts happened in Lansing. Last week, attorneys argued the case should be dismissed in Genesee County. Snyder is charged with 2 misdemeanor counts of willful neglect of duty.
Let's look now at the coronavirus numbers from the weekend. 3,011 new cases over the past 2 days, averaging out to a little more than 1,500 cases a day. Along with that, the state reports another 35 deaths due to the virus. We're also getting new numbers on vaccine distribution in the state.
To date, more than 1.4 million doses have been delivered to the state, with 730,000 shots going into arms. Governor Whitmer's news conference today was supposed to be about the launch of a new commission on vaccines.
Instead, it was really last week's surprise resignation of the state's health director, Robert Gordon, that took center stage. Grant Herms now with more on what the governor is saying or not saying about the departure. Grant?
Devin, the story here is really what she's not saying. There are a lot of questions still about the sudden and frankly odd resignation of Robert Gordon. And then late this afternoon, new reporting raising concerns about a state health nonprofit and its ties to the governor's administration and the new health director.
Governor Whitmer not answering questions today about what led to the abrupt resignation of former health director Robert Gordon.
I've answered that question. I think the only thing that I would say is, it's been a grueling couple of years, and changes in administrations happen.
Gordon announced suddenly he was leaving on social media without giving a reason, and just minutes later the governor's office announcing Gordon's senior chief deputy director Elizabeth Hertel would be taking his place. Hertel thanking Gordon and department staff on Monday.
I would also like to thank Robert Gordon for his service and support of our mission and his service to our state and its residents. And I'd also like to acknowledge and thank the MDHHS team who has worked tirelessly over the past year.
But recent reporting is casting a new light on Hertel's appointment. A new report from the Detroit News raising concerns about Hertel's board position on the Michigan Public Health Institute and its ties to Whitmer's administration. The nonprofit, not subject to the same transparency rules as state departments, has been handling some $166 million in contracts to fight COVID-19 and was criticized in a recent report by the Attorney General, with one government official saying it was, quote, often used to avoid oversight. Monday's Zoom briefing with tightly regulated questions ending before any question about those ties was able to be asked.
Now, that report was looking into a contract awarded early on in the pandemic for $200,000 that went to a prominent Democratic operative. It ultimately found that there was no wrongdoing there and that contract was canceled. It's also worth noting here that the Institute has worked with governors on both sides of the aisle, and the state's top health official, Dr. Janae Khaldun, is also a member of that board as well.
All right, Grant, and in the spirit of transparency, let us say that a member of the Local 4 staff is also a board member on that nonprofit, but did not have work on or any guidance on our story today. Now, tonight, we are getting a clearer look at the case against a Wixom man accused of beating police with a hockey stick during the siege on the U.S. Capitol.
29-year-old Michael Foy appeared in federal court for a detention hearing this afternoon as he remains behind bars. We want to get to defender Sean Lake. Sean, the feds are calling Foy one of the most violent participants during that insurgency.
Just moments ago in federal court, you're right, Kimberly, saying Foy was one of the most violent at the Capitol back on January 6th. They showed body camera footage from the officer who was attacked. It was absolutely vicious and brutal. The feds say Foy has access to guns. They found 2 with him at home, 10 at his mother's home, and that Foy admitted to being on a downward spiral, drinking 10 beers a day. Take a look. You are looking at what a D.C. Metro police officer could see as he was on the ground and being viciously attacked January 6th during the chaos at the Capitol. Federal prosecutors say the officer's body camera captures 29-year-old Michael Foy from Wixom. As they say, Foy used a hockey stick to strike that officer in his head, face, neck, and body. No cameras are allowed in federal court where Foy had a detention hearing late this afternoon. The body camera footage was played and it showed an incredibly violent attack. Today, prosecutors revealed that photos from Foy's own cell phone, like this one, placed Foy in the middle of the trashed Capitol. The hockey stick used was found in Foy's Wixom condo, and that Foy attempted suicide the week of the Capitol chaos, and he apparently has access to firearms here at home. Foy's attorney says Foy suffers from PTSD and needs treatment right away, that he was a supervisor in his 5 years as an active duty Marine, earning a Good Conduct Medal, and needs to be with his mother in Standish, Michigan, while he awaits trial. Back here live, the magistrate just making her decision, holding Foy in detention. He will not get bond until he can be moved to D.C. to face these charges. Right now, he's in the Livingston County Jail on a suicide watch. We're live tonight. Sean Lake, Local 4 Defenders. Back to you guys.
Okay, Sean, thank you. Well, when we learned the lone winning ticket for Friday's billion-dollar Mega Millions drawing was sold right here in Metro Detroit, the rumor mill over who won it started growing quickly.
Soon enough, it zeroed in on a group of teachers in Novi. As our Priya Mann reports, it was a very interesting start to the work week at Novi Woods Elementary. Priya?
It was quite the weekend for teachers and staff at Novi Woods Elementary. All weekend long, their phones were blowing up. They were getting emails and messages from people they hadn't talked to in decades. And everyone had the same question. Did you win $1 billion?
There was so much buzz that I was getting asked things like, are we even going to have school on Monday?
After a whirlwind weekend of rumors that a group of teachers at Novi Woods Elementary had won the billion-dollar jackpot, it was back to business on the first day of a new semester.
Everyone showed up for work today, which was really good.
So that was your takeaway, that nobody won because they're at work?
Yep, and then I bought them all donuts today, which seemed to help too.
Donuts might not stack up to $1 billion, but Principal Asher says the rumors were a welcome distraction.
We've had people who got contacted from different countries. It has just been remarkable. When it happens with so many different people, you think, could it really be that a teacher or a group of teachers that I know? And then your mind starts going down those rabbit holes.
That winning Mega Millions jackpot ticket was purchased at this Kroger at Grand River and Beck, just 5 minutes away from Novi Woods Elementary.
People are kind of like, are you sure it's not you? Or are you sure it's not this person? And everyone starts playing the what if games, like, what would I do if I had $1 billion?
But what if there's a chance the winners just aren't saying anything?
Unless they're hiding it really, really well.
I mean, I'm sure some of them have a good poker face.
Not that good. Not $1 billion good. I love them to death, but not $1 billion poker face.
He was a hoot to talk to. Now, Principal Asher reiterated this is just a rumor. A group of teachers did not win, although he hopes a group of teachers did. He said that about 50% of his students have chosen a hybrid model. So at any given time, there's about 30 teachers in the building. This is certainly a Monday they will not forget. I just love that he bought them donuts. That's a consolation prize of sorts. Reporting live, I'm Priya Mann. Send it back to you.
I love the thoughtfulness. Exactly right. All right, Priya. The state has now confirmed at least 13 cases of this UK coronavirus variant in Washtenaw County and at least 4 in Wayne County.
The state's chief medical executive warned there are likely more cases that have not yet been identified. Here's what experts say you need to know about this mutant strain.
Will I test positive on a COVID test if I have the UK variant? Yes, our current COVID tests detect an infection caused by the new variant, but they won't tell you if you have the new variant, just if you're positive for COVID-19. An extra step called genome sequencing is required to tell if someone has a variant of the virus. Is everyone being tested for the new variant? No, just a fraction of samples are actually sent for genome sequencing. The state of Michigan has sequenced about 6,000 samples since March. That accounts for about 8% of all samples sequenced in the U.S. What makes the UK variant more contagious? Experts say the UK strain is better at latching on to the receptors in our nose, lungs, and digestive tract. Particularly speaking, that means it might take less time or less exposure to become infected. The UK variant is estimated to be about 50% more contagious. As this graphic shows, that means each infected person is more likely to infect more people. Is it more deadly? Some preliminary research suggested that could be the case, but the answer is still being determined. Regardless, if the virus spreads more easily and infects more people, that will lead to more hospitalizations and ultimately more deaths. Will the vaccines still be effective? So far, experts believe they will, but we're watching that issue very closely. The vaccines can be updated if necessary.
And experts say presence of the UK variant makes precautions such as masks and social distancing all the more important. Some are recommending Americans double up their masks. We'll have more on that suggestion coming up on the news at 6 o'clock.
Still got a lot more to come here at 5 on this Monday. Let's check in with Hank.
Restaurants all across the area getting ready to welcome you back inside. But what big changes will you notice? I'm Hank Winchester. Help me, Hank, tonight.
And some of them haven't been touched in 40 years. New tonight, what Mayor Mike Duggan is doing to address a major problem in Detroit neighborhoods.
For the first time, Chief James Craig is speaking on the accidental child shootings that have happened in the city. Coming up, hear what he says has to change to prevent this from happening once again.